So Scran is a Scottish food and drink podcast, so just got a few questions on Scottish food and drink, if that's all right, to see how your relationship with it is.
Okay.
So you were born in Dumfries in Galloway, which is famous for ice cream. So do you have a favourite ice cream?
Yes, I do. You want to know what it is?
Yeah,
mint chocolate chip.
Mint chocolate
chip. It's absolutely the king of ice creams. I mean, I'm partial to a vanilla or chocolate, just keep it plain, but mint chocolate chip, I think it's got the best of everything. I don't know if you remember what were they called? Were they feast bars?
Yeah, with a chocolate in the middle.
It had the thick chocolate chunk in the middle,
yeah,
mint chocolate chip around the outside, and then a crispy chocolate around the top. So you could eat it by layers, or you could eat the whole thing. Tremendous. That's definitely the best ice cream.
And you travel quite a lot for work. So what Scottish food or drink do you stock up to take away with you?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I mean, obviously whiskey. I like to take abroad, but it's interesting. I guess, I mean, we have such great produce in Scotland, from seafood, like we have these incredible langoustine, we have salmon, we have oysters, we have, all of the seafood that actually we don't celebrate enough. It gets sent to other countries. I mean, something like 95% of all langoustines that are fished in Scotland go to Europe, which is a shame that we don't we don't use them more. But we recently had a sort of soft launch of our whiskey in Los Angeles at the BAFTA Burns night, where I had to toast a haggis, and we had the whiskey there as well. But the haggis had to be smuggled into America because haggis is illegal there. So I think it was McSween's haggis as well, which is tremendous. It's one of the best. So I would say that would be it. I would have to smuggle in some haggis. But actually, I was in Australia maybe 2 years ago doing some press, and I was on a breakfast morning television show. And somehow in Australia, they've got a haggis, and they presented it to me in the morning, cooked. It smelled so bad, like someone had really bad indigestion. It smelled so bad, and I didn't touch it. I was like, I'm not going to eat that. And I think some of the presenters did have a little taste, and it didn't look right at all. I don't know what happened to the haggis. I think it was probably sitting in their fridge for a few days and probably gone off. So I hope they weren't really ill.
Was it giving you the bulk?
It was giving me the bulk, but it wasn't only that. I actually thought that one of the presenters had sort of let off some air. I thought one of them had farted because it was smelling so bad. So then I'm sitting there pretending like I can't smell something, but it was awful.
Probably a fine acting moment there to be like, this is all fine.
That's it.
So there's a section on the podcast called Desert Island Drinks, which is, if you could only take 3 drams on a desert island, what would they be and why? And
that's so good. I can't choose mine.
Well, you can if you want, yeah.
Oh, I can. Okay. Well, 3 drams. Oh my God, that's really tough. So I guess, oh God. First one would have to be, as I've talked about, sort of the Asian whiskeys. I quite like the Kavalan. Is that Taiwanese but do you know what I've been trying recently is the Amrut, the Indian single malt, which I think is delicious and tremendous. So I would take the Amrut. Then probably I have to take something Scottish. Obviously, I would take maybe a peated whiskey. And I recently tried the Glen Turret, one of the oldest distilleries in Scotland. If you want to try their peated whiskey, it is fantastic, really well balanced. I'd take that. And of course, finally, I'd have to take the Sassenach because it's my whiskey and it has so many memories tied up in it and is the best whiskey in the world.
Yeah. And finally, we just have a quick fire round. So it's 5 questions. If you just tell me the first thing that comes into your head, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Whenever I'm hungry, I think of?
Porridge.
Comfort food for me is?
Curry, I think.
My favourite childhood dessert is?
Oh, pineapple upside down.
My food heaven is?
Oh, sushi?
And my food hell is?
Oh, pork. Like pork knuckle. You know, pork, like, I don't know if you've ever been to, I know I was shooting in, over in Budapest, and they like to serve you pork knuckle, which is just, it's, you know, with cabbage and potatoes and stuff. And it could be delicious, but it's not, because it's covered in this fat. And I was brought up a vegetarian until I was about mid-20s. So I only started eating meat later on. And yeah, it's just a little intimidating. I'm not sure I'm quite ready for a pork knuckle.
And do you have time for one last question?
Yes, I do.
Oh, now I've got to choose. What was it? You played Hugh Tennant in the Tennant's advert. What was that like, and what is your favourite Scottish beer? Don't feel like you have to say Tennant's.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I loved that character. He's a madman, but with a great idea. And yeah, no, Tennant's. We did a series of adverts over a number of years, and we actually shot some of those adverts all over the world. We went to Prague and shot the first ones, and then we went to South Africa and shot there, which actually, insider tip, there's a great gin in South Africa called Inverroche, which they use the rooibos as one of the botanicals, and the rooibos is this tea that is caffeine free, I think, but it gives it this great sort of amber hue, like a sort of almost red, russet red color, but it is tremendous. Really good gin. Yeah, and yeah, they were fantastic to work with. Tennants. They sent me a lot of beer. So after a while, I have to admit, they sent me a pallet of beer. My flatmates at the time were really happy for about a couple of weeks, and then they were just bored of drinking cans of Tennants. But you could never get bored of drinking Tennants. My favorite beer would be, I can't pass by a Schiehallion. Is it Harveston? It's kind of, I love that mountain. I love Schiehallion. It's actually right where we shot the Outlander Standing Stones up near Kinlochranach. So for me, yeah, it's got sort of a lot of emotions tied up in it, but also it's just refreshing. Also the Black Isle Blonde, I love that one as well. Tremendous.